What did you say was your name?
My name is Elena, working here for the last 8 years.
Did anyone enter the room after you informed me about the incident?
I locked the room immediately after you said to.
So who was the first one to see the dead body?
I was, as I have the second key. The room was locked.
Are all the members who were present at the time of the incident still in the house?
Yes, they.
So what did you do after you saw the dead body?
I screamed and panicked and rushed out to call the others. But I couldn't call anybody. Julian and Clara were fighting. George and Samuel were in the kitchen. Julian and Clara were fighting inside Clara's bedroom. I could hear Clara scream at Julian from the outside. George and Samuel were in the kitchen, but George insisted I better inform the police first. So I called up the police station and was informed to lock the room immediately, which I did.
So were George and Samuel with you?
Yes, I had called from the kitchen lamp.
What about Clara and Julian?
They were still fighting by the time I locked the room.
You may leave now, Elena, but we will need to interrogate you as well later.
Okay.
So, Doc, cause of death?
Looks like a case of poisoning, but autopsy will reveal more.
No injuries, marks on the body. Looks like whoever killed him knew him very well.
Women's perfume.
The watch hasn't moved since 8:47 in the evening. Understandable. Where did you find this latch, Derek?
On the floor below the window. Seems like somebody broke in from outside the lawn.
This mark on his neck looks like a needle was used and inserted here to poison.
Ma'am, I assume you are the deceased person's wife, but your presence here can disturb our forensic team's
Analysis, and you or your friend here might put unnecessary fingerprints to loop you further into investigation.
Julian, tell me that I am hallucinating and that this is all a lie.
Control. Before I forget, call up at the station. Get details of every financial transaction.
Check every drawer and locker. Collect everything that can come handy in our investigation.
Julia, get all the people inside the house to assemble at the living room.
Okay.
Tell Dr. Nolan to get the autopsy report delivered at the station at the earliest.
Okay.
Let me introduce myself. I am Detective Vance. I know it's a hard moment for each of you sitting here right.
Especially you, ma'am. I didn't get your name?
I am Clara, Arthur's wife.
The deceased man, Arthur's body, has been taken for autopsy, and after the autopsy report is made available, the body will be returned to you.
As there has been a murder in the house, each of you are prime suspects in the case. I expect full cooperation from each of you, or I will have to think otherwise. And none of you will be allowed to leave the house until your interrogations are over.
We will interrogate only Elena, the housemaid, and Samuel, the cook, tonight.
And Julia, bring Elena and inform the rest of the household they can rest for tonight.
Okay.
Derek, confiscate the passports of every holder in this house, including the dead man's.
Even the dead man?
Derek, interrogate Samuel, the cook. Check if he has any modus operandi in the murder.
Bet it. Elena, anything you say is getting recorded both manually and digitally. Let only true facts out. Elena, you are being interrogated first because you had the second key to the room where the dead body was found.
Now, Elena, tell us what you know about this household.
Okay. Let me start from the beginning. When I joined, both the brothers Arthur and George weren't married. Arthur was romancing Nora those days. Nora is Arthur's secretary. But there were financial issues Arthur was facing. 4 years back, Arthur met Clara and her dad at a charity event, and a friendship blossomed. Clara got her dad to invest heavily in Arthur's company, which has Victor as a partner. Eventually, Clara's dad asked Arthur to marry his daughter if he wanted more funding. So Arthur married Clara. The marriage was held in a large and grandeur way. At the marriage event, Arthur introduced George to Stephanie, a famous fashion model who did multiple ad campaigns for Arthur. About 1.5 years back, George married Stephanie.
So Arthur married Clara, but Nora didn't object?
She did, in fact.
Nora got full drunk at the marriage function and started abusing Arthur in front of all.
Nora called Arthur a rabid womanizer, a betrayer of trust, until Victor took her away from.
You said Clara and Julian were fighting over something. Elaborate it, please.
Julian is an accountant at Arthur's company. He regularly comes to the house and has been doing so for 2 years. But after George got married to Stephanie, he started coming even more, especially when Arthur was not at home.
To meet the model Stephanie?
No, Clara.
Is their relationship strictly professional?
I can't comment on it, but I already said they were fighting inside Clara's bedroom, so you know it.
Got it.
What can you tell us about Arthur and Clara's relationship after marriage?
Arthur and Clara's marriage started on a rocky patch. It was because of Nora. Arthur won't terminate Nora even after Clara's repeated requests. Clara didn't know about Arthur's affair with Nora and was shocked to know on her marriage day. Nora became the reason for regular fights between Arthur and Clara. And over time, Clara lost love. But after George married Stephanie, Clara's emotions for Arthur further died. She found a new companion in Julian instead.
What so drastically happened after George's marriage that Clara gave up on Arthur?
I don't know that.
Thanks, Elena. You can leave for now. Other than Julian, everybody's passport is here on the table. Julian said his passport is in his house. Stephanie was reluctant to give her passport, saying she has a fashion modeling assignment in Bali 2 weeks later, but finally
I convinced her to hand it over.
Anything fishy about the cook, Samuel?
Samuel looks clean, but he does dislike Stephanie.
he said that woman is a bitch. She is the reason for Arthur's murder.
Did he? So, Julia, what do we have here?
Lining up the suspects for you.
We have Clara, who was betrayed by Arthur. Then we have Nora.
Then we have Julian, Clara's new lover, and Stephanie, Arthur's new muse.
And of course, we have Elena, the housemaid who had the only other key to the room.
Don't discount George, Stephanie's husband, and Victor, the business partner of Arthur.
So, we have 7 primary suspects unless we find more during our investigation.
I found huge discrepancies in Arthur's financials.
Looks like Victor was embezzling company funds for personal use.
But that is not all. For the last 7 months, Arthur was receiving huge funds in his personal bank account in millions from a mysterious bank account.
We tracked this bank account to Victor's wife, Amanda Wilson.
Ransom?
Looks like so. But why? We will need to interrogate Victor.
I went through the passports of Arthur, Stephanie, and George and found something very interesting.
For the last 4 years, every time Stephanie went abroad, Arthur followed her after 2 days.
Arthur would stay in the same hotel Stephanie was staying in.
But 2 months back, George followed Stephanie and Arthur and stayed in the same hotel. That's brilliant work, Derek.
I have called Nora to the police station for interrogation.
Thanks for coming so promptly. It helps our investigation.
Am I not a suspect?
Nora Vandermeer, my name is Detective Vance. I am investigating the murder case of
Arthur Dulcie, who happened to be your employer. I hope you are aware of the news of his death.
Yes.
At the outset, let me inform you that the entire discussion here is being recorded.
You are being called here as you are one of the primary suspects in this murder.
I understand. Detective Vance, ask whatever you want, but I have nothing to do with this murder.
Where were you from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. yesterday night?
I was with Victor. We were at Club Cabana partying. You can check the CCTV footage if you want.
Maybe partying the death of the man who betrayed your love and used and threw you.
You and that man hurt you so much that made you plan and hire an assassin, maybe.
If I wanted Arthur dead, I would have killed him on his marriage day itself.
I hated Arthur after he betrayed me and married Clara, but not enough to kill him. Victor's wife is divorcing him, and Victor intends to marry me after his divorce. It was Victor's birthday yesterday, and Victor proposed to me yesterday. That was the occasion for...
Is Victor's wife divorcing him because Arthur was blackmailing her?
What?
Looks like you aren't aware.
I could imagine Arthur as anything but a blackmailer.
I gave Arthur everything. Even till this date, I am keeping his ring.
Here, take this tissue napkin. I think you can go, Nora. We will call you if required.
Think she is clean.
Yeah, Nora was convincing, but there still is an issue.
It is hard to imagine that Nora marries Victor and Arthur would have stayed silent?
So she stays on the primary suspects list?
Apparently, yes.
Let's meet Mrs. Amanda Wilson now,
Why her first?
because we have material evidence.
Sure this is the house?
Of course, I am a police officer after all.
Yes, please.
We are here to meet Mrs. Amanda Wilson. Is she at home?
Yes, please come in.
Ma'am, they are here to meet you.
Thank you, Rosaline. You may leave now. The moment I heard of Arthur's death, I knew police will come looking for me.
You paid $25 million to Arthur from an account where you collect donations for your mayoral elections.
Why? Was Arthur blackmailing you?
Yes, he was. He took advantage of the upcoming mayoral elections. Kindly keep this as a secret. Arthur had intimate photos of mine before my marriage to Victor. I was a young, struggling film actress those days, looking for a break in the industry. I am standing in for the upcoming mayoral elections happening in 6 months.
A scandal would ruin my prospects. Arthur took advantage of it.
That gives you 1,000 reasons to murder him or get Arthur murdered, isn't it?
That's extremely logical to think. But Arthur, after receiving the money, gave me the original pen drives that had those images. Arthur even told me it was a punishment for Victor cozying around with Nora.
Does Victor know about the ransom?
No.
Your decision to divorce him?
When I learned that Victor was seeing Nora, my heart sank. But I realized I hadn't been honest with him myself.
I felt that the incident of Arthur blackmailing me and Victor seeing Nora was the result of my
dishonesty. I felt I shouldn't continue a life with Victor with truths hidden.
So you got Arthur murdered to silence him forever?
No. Arthur made peace with me. I asked Arthur if he had more copies of the images, and he flatly said he was done with me, and after that, I never heard from him ever. Detective, I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to do with his murder. In fact, I think God himself punished him.
What do you mean?
Because his wife, Clara, is cheating on him for quite some time.
That doesn't change the fact, and you still remain a prime suspect.
Can I ask for a favor? Can you keep this ransom thing discreet?
Can't promise.
At least not to Victor, please, I beg of you.
Don't bother if you aren't the murderer.
Mr. Victor, my name is Detective Vance. I am investigating the case of Arthur Dolce's
Murder case. As Arthur was your business partner, we wanted to understand certain facts.
From you. Firstly, how was your personal relationship with Mr. Arthur Dolce?
Arthur and I didn't fit well together, but I needed Arthur as he was very good at things. But our personal equation wasn't that good at all.
Last year, Arthur put a legal case against me for embezzlement of company
Funds. That case is still going on in court till this day. Further, Arthur started getting personal when I started dating
his ex-fiancée and personal secretary, Nora, whom I planned to marry after my divorce settled.
With so many grudges against Arthur, could you be the killer we are looking for?
Detective Vance, professional relationships and personal relationships are separate things. Arthur was
a good businessman. He had good rapport with policymakers, could get past pollution requirements.
You don't shoot your feet by removing an asset of the company. Further, I wasn't even here in the city.
Yesterday, Nora and I were at Club Cabana partying. Go and check if required.
Why did your divorce situation arise?
My wife, Amanda, learned I was dating Nora. She asked me it was true. I confessed. Her large political ambitions had killed our love
long time back itself. We tried to patch up, but Amanda loves power.
Political power.
We leave for now, but aren't letting you off yet.
We interrogated 4 people, Elena, Nora, Amanda, and Victor. And other than Elena, they all have reasons for Arthur.
Dead for their reasons. But why didn't you ask Amanda where she was yesterday, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m.?
Amanda was on live TV on an interview, which I was watching when Elena called.
Nora, Amanda, and Victor have very strong alibis, Julia. Hey, has the autopsy report come?
Robert called. It's homicide and cyanide poisoning. Derek is bringing it to Arthur's place. Injected straight into the neck of the victim.
Julia, we need to check their bedrooms. I will get Elena to ensure we get access, and while I interrogate them,
Look out for anything suspicious. If it is of interest, confiscate it, and please ensure nobody sees it being picked up.
Okay.
Elena, is everybody home?
Yes.
Good. Lunch done?
Yes.
Kindly inform your ma'am, Clara, that I and Julia will see her in 15 minutes in her room.
I am not sure Clara is in a state of mind for interrogation.
Can't help.
I am a detective here to solve a murder case. I can't be emotional. Now, please.
I was sleeping after lunch, having a severe headache when Elena came in.
And woke me up. Said you wanted to see me in 15 minutes. Elena got the bed made, but I couldn't get myself into an appropriate dress.
That's okay. We understand the inconvenience.
Detective Vance, when can I expect my husband's body returned so we can plan for the funeral?
The autopsy report has come. We might hand over his body in a day or 2.
And what does the autopsy report say?
Somebody injected him with liquid cyanide.
Around 8 p.m. yesterday, when I went to ask Arthur in his study room what he would love for dinner for. Had I known that somebody intended to kill my husband, I would have stayed with him in the study room.
Was anybody there with your husband Arthur in the study room that time?
Julian was. Julian is an accountant at Arthur's company. Comes regularly to the house.
Do you think Julian could have murdered Arthur?
Julian followed me and walked out of the room. Julian wanted the salary processing book signed. And Arthur was having a fight with Victor regarding financials. In fact, Arthur showed us the hand signal to leave the room when he was fighting Victor on the phone. Julian and I came out of the room when Julian said he needed to talk to me privately.
So, when you and Julian left, Arthur was hale and hearty?
Yes.
Ma'am, this is a digital voice recorder. Our conversation from here on shall be recorded.
Ma'am, with due permission, I would like to check your room. I have nothing to hide, officer. Go ahead with your investigation.
Are you suspecting me of murdering my husband?
We have material evidence to suggest you might have.
What?
Clara, I wouldn't have investigated your personal life had this murder not occurred. We know you didn't have a cordial relationship with your husband, Arthur, ever. We also checked the records at Motel Cafe Inn to know whom you were with. From August last year to March this year, you checked in every month in that motel. And the room was booked in Julian's name. You betrayed your husband.
Behind Arthur's back, you were having your rendezvous with your lover, Julian.
You told people you were gonna see your sick mother, but it was Julian at the motel.
And when you sensed Arthur was suspicious, you stopped your visits to the motel.
And when you thought Arthur was getting close to the truth, you murdered him.
Do you have anything to say in your defense, Clara Dulce?
You are right. I was having an affair with Julian, but I broke it off.
My unrequited love from Arthur had broken my heart, and day by day I was losing myself. I was feeling hopeless knowing that my husband loves somebody else. I had nobody to talk to about my grief, my pain, my agony.
At home, George was busy adjusting with Stephanie. Stephanie, on the other hand, was abroad half the time.
This house started feeling like a prison where I could hardly breathe. Julian was the only one who seemed to care to see whether I was even alive.
But I misjudged Julian. He wasn't caring for me, but took advantage of my emotional state. He used me physically and financially with no intention to settle down with me.
When I realized that Julian won't marry me ever, I stopped seeing him forever. Those 8 months were the worst decision of my life. I regret it every day now.
Was that the reason for your fight with Julian on the day Arthur was murdered?
Yes. He wanted it back, but I had seen through him to not fall for it again.
Matches the handkerchief we found at the murder scene.
Can you confirm whether this handkerchief belongs to you or not?
Yes, it is mine. That is the lavender perfume I use. It was missing for 2 weeks.
I again reiterate that I cannot even dream of murdering Arthur. Forget about doing it.
And before we leave, can you recollect the time Julian left the room?
Exact 8:55 p.m. Was worried Arthur might see us, so was looking at the clock constantly.
Our entire conversation is getting recorded on that digital recorder on the table.
Let me tell you, it was just coincidence that I was in the house on the day of the murder.
If I had not come that day, I won't even have been on the suspects list.
I am a detective, Mr. Julian Rickett. You were on my list the moment I saw you with Clara.
At the study room, I immediately understood you weren't a family member, but Clara's friend. Do you recall I asked Clara and said, "Ma'am, you and your friend should leave from
here"? It amazed me that Clara wasn't escorted by her brother-in-law, sister-in-law, Elena, but
You. Somebody who could enter his employer's bedroom and meet his wife at free will.
You have great imagination, detective, but I came here to get the salary records signed.
and find an opportunity to convince Clara to join you at Motel Cafe Inn? As an accountant for Arthur, I find it strange that Victor embezzled company funds without your knowledge.
There can be multiple reasons why you wanted Arthur dead. I just stated a few.
Detective, when I and Clara saw Arthur the last time, he was fit as a derby horse.
Arthur asked us to leave him alone for some time. And the next thing I learned was George informing me of his murder.
Elena was locking the door of the study room. Samuel and George were there. I went to Clara's bedroom to inform her about Arthur's death, but she won't believe my words at all. What was the time when you went to Clara's bedroom to inform her about Arthur's murder?
Maybe 9 p.m. or 5 minutes past 9. Can't recall the exact time, but somewhat around that.
We will leave for now, but trust me, you aren't let off.
How many days more?
Can't sit here at Arthur's place. Company expenses, salaries need to be accounted for.
Another day or two, unless we find you being the murderer of Arthur.
The timeline Alina narrated matches that of Clara and Julian. Arthur's death and aftermath.
I checked the time it takes from Clara's room to the study room to be about 2 minutes through the corridor.
Elena called at the police station at 52 minutes past 8, and I spoke to her for about 3 minutes.
So technically, Elena locking the door of the study between 9 p.m. or 5 minutes past 9 matches with Julian.
So after 5 minutes past 9, nobody could enter the study room, isn't it?
There is one critical issue here. Did the murderer break in from outside the window or from inside the house?
Of course, from outside the window. We have a break-in into the study room with window latches broken.
I am trying to figure out if Clara and Julian were the last people to see Arthur alive. Neither of them would have locked the room door. Clara said she walked out after Arthur showed the hands.
And Julian followed her behind. But Julian made an interesting point in his statement.
He said that Arthur had asked them to leave for some time, meaning Julian expected
Arthur to call him back into the study room after his call with Victor was over. So why lie?
So, you are suggesting somebody from inside the house murdered Arthur?
We both saw that the study door locks automatically when the door is shut properly.
So, somebody entered the study room, murdered Arthur, closed the study door, and
mingled with the people inside the house.
Yes, but it doesn't explain the break-in into the study room.
If Arthur was alive, any break-in from outside would create noise and he would have been alerted.
The steel window latches falling onto the tiles would have sent Arthur into a defensive mode.
And if the murderer entered the room through the study door, what was the need to break the window latches?
Is there a possibility of two people being involved? One for the inside job, another to mop up evidence?
That's what is worrying me about Clara and Julian's statements.
Let's finish interrogating Stephanie and George.
I will send a word through Elena then.
Stephanie first, George later. Explain Elena this.
Okay. Meet at 15 minutes.
Judy, what is the progress of your dog squad? Anything of interest so far?
We went through the lawns outside, nothing much of relevance so far.
What about this room where the murder took place?
Champion is sniffing around. Let's see.
Judy, looks like Champion has something in his mouth. Check what's that.
Looks like Champion found a torn leather strap from a wristwatch.
Only case is, was it lying there since forever or since yesterday night when the murder happened?
I had informed through Julia that we want to interrogate Stephanie alone.
I informed George about it. He said he was okay with it and went to the living room. Stephanie, ma'am, Detective Vance and Police Officer Julia are here to meet you. Thank you, Elena. You may leave now. Thanks, ma'am. Before you start your interrogation, let me remind you I need my passport back, please. Ma'am, with due permission, I would like to check your room and your belongings. Yes, please. No issues at all. We are family of Arthur. Feel free, absolutely. Hope you won't mind if I carry on with my normal facial routine as usual.
Not at all.
Ma'am, where were you from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. yesterday?
At a fashion event, judging as a jury. Reached home
Around 15 minutes past 9. I am a fashion model, so sometimes I need to ensure I am seen on TV.
Do you suspect anybody who could have murdered Arthur?
Arthur was a loving man. Arthur was the one who brought me into the fashion industry. I was a struggling fashion model those days. But Arthur had faith in me and advertised his company advertisement with me
Exclusively. I had signed a contract for 2 years. When the contract was getting over, he asked me to marry
George, his younger brother. And when I met George, I was like, why didn't I meet him all my life?
Ma'am, can you brief me about your relationship with Arthur prior to your marriage to George, his younger brother?
Because you just said Arthur was the one who suggested you to marry George, isn't it?
Arthur met me 4 years back at a fashion modeling agency where I had gone to submit my profile.
He was looking for a fresh face to become the brand ambassador for his company. A completely unknown face. He wanted a standout face that could connect the teens and the midwives for his fashion brand.
After seeing me at the lobby, Arthur went straight to the manager and inquired about my details.
The manager of the agency informed Arthur I wasn't with their agency yet, and he came up to me and said, would you like to work as a brand ambassador for our company? I was shocked. Initially, I thought it was a prank, and so I asked, are you serious? I am not yet signed to any agency. Then Arthur gave me his visiting card, and realizing that he was the owner of such a large brand, I got nervous. But Arthur was damn serious. In 2 weeks, he had got the papers ready and signed for me. I was in complete disbelief until the fashion photo shoot started happening and I started being seen on billboards, digital ads, fashion magazine ads. I became a popular and known face due to this campaigns. Many agencies started approaching me, but my contract wouldn't allow me to do campaigns for other brands. As my contract was getting over, I went to meet Arthur at his office. George was in his office that day, and George fell for me on that very same day as he recalls today. Arthur's company was facing financial trouble and a legal case against his business partner, Victor. My contract wasn't renewed, so I joined a model agency and started working for other brands. In the meantime, I was seeing George. One fine day, Arthur called and said, take the plunge. Marry my younger brother. So George and I got married 1.5 years back.
Vance, while checking this room, I found something in one of the drawers that might be of importance. Vance, I found this watch in one of the drawers. Amazingly, the time on this dead watch mirrors the time of the murder.
Looks like the piece which we found in the study table came from this watch.
You just found us the wonder. Keep it hush for the moment and call for backup now.
Do you recognize this watch, Stephanie?
Of course, it belongs to George, but why would it matter?
because you thought hiding the truth can erase the facts, but your passport revealed it long time back.
Do you know George stayed in the same hotel in which you and Arthur stayed last abroad?
He doesn't travel abroad and never has.
A man in love can do wonders, provided the woman is loyal.
Whatever we discuss here now is getting recorded in that digital voice recorder in front of you.
Whatever you want to ask, please ask. I have nothing to hide. Arthur was my own brother. His death has hurt me deeply. Arthur was like a fatherly figure to me. He made all my life's decisions for me, including Stephanie, and whom I met at Arthur's office and immediately fell in love. And Arthur got us married in a grand way. Half of the most renowned people in the city attended my and Stephanie's marriage, all thanks to Arthur.
Because you were financially broken as your publishing house was being
Legally sued by an author for copyright infringement. So Arthur took the burden of the grand wedding.
Yes, that's true.
And it was Arthur who convinced you to allow Stephanie to carry on with her modeling
career to support you financially, though you never wanted Stephanie to work in the fashion industry again after your marriage. Yes. I hate the fashion industry. That's why I never joined Arthur's business and started my own publishing house. I hate the world of glamour and blitz, but I was neck deep in debt, so I allowed Stephanie
to work again in the fashion industry. Arthur used all his networks to get work for Stephanie and even
accompanied her in many of her fashion shows abroad, introducing her to other big brands
Worldwide. Arthur himself introduced Stephanie to many Hollywood celebrities.
With Stephanie getting ample work, she supported me in getting my debt written off. So, technically, my brother Arthur helped me out of my financial mess through Stephanie. Arthur has done more for me than anybody in this world ever could.
And maybe he stretched too far out for your comfort, isn't it?
Me?
I will explain everything. Where were you, George, at the time of Arthur's death?
I reached home yesterday around 7:50. Arthur had asked me to get the groceries, so I went to the kitchen to... I need you to deliver the grocery. Alina was there, and so was Samuel. Then I went to Arthur's study to inform my brother that I had got the groceries. He need not worry. Arthur was studying some report Julian, the accountant, had brought. And Julian was there with Arthur in the study room. Arthur said, "We'll talk at the dinner." So I left the study room and walked towards my room when I saw Clara walk from her room towards Arthur's study room.
I wished Clara in advance happy birthday, as at midnight she was to turn a year older. She said, "You remember it?"
I told Clara, yes, I do. Because you, Clara, haven't ever forgotten to wish me on my birthday. She smiled. My brother Arthur didn't value human emotions. He never understood Clara, my sister-in-law, and how much she loved him. Clara asked, "Is he in the study room?" I told her yes. And she walked past me and went into the study room. While I went to my room, I called up Stephanie to check up on what time she was reaching home, as she had gone to a fashion event where she was a jury member. Then I heard Clara screaming at somebody. I went into the room and saw Clara and Julian fighting over something. Clara saw me and asked me to leave them alone.
Fearing Arthur might hear Clara and Julian fighting, I shut the door of Clara's room and went back to my room.
Didn't it occur to you to ask the reason why they were fighting? It did. So I went to the kitchen and asked Elena to go and check up what was the matter with Clara and Julian. Elena went out to check. Samuel gave me a cup of coffee when suddenly Elena came screaming, telling us that Arthur was dead. Elena was uncontrollable and asked what we should do. I told her to call the police. I and Samuel rushed to Arthur's study room and saw Arthur dead on the floor. Just as we were about to enter the room, Elena screamed and said, "Stop." She told us that the police had asked nobody to enter the room. Just as Elena was locking the door, Julian came out of Clara's room and asked me what had happened. I informed Julian that Arthur was dead. Julian couldn't believe it, but seeing our faces, he realized the gravity of the situation. Julian rushed to Clara's room and Elena followed him. I left Samuel and went outside to check if somebody who could have entered the house and murdered Arthur. So I went outside the house but saw no one.
You narrated the sequence of events to match everybody's statement. However, there is
the thing that came up during my interrogation of your wife, Stephanie. I share it as it happened.
When you and Arthur went to Vancouver, George stayed at the same hotel. What was the need to not inform
you? Did he suspect you were hiding something or being not loyal to him?
No, Detective Vance. If George actually came to Vancouver, then he would have likely come to check whether I was signing for the movie or not.
What movie?
Arthur always believed that I was made for Hollywood. So he introduced me to many celebrities, many big stars and producers. One such producer and director is Rupert Loris, who wanted to cast me in his next movie.
What? Do you even know what movies he made?
Everyone I did last summer, A Few Hard Men, etc., are the names of his movies. Didn't you know?
On my last birthday, Rupert gifted me this photo frame stating Hollywood needs me. I didn't know the kind of movies he made, so jokingly said, "Sign me then." The next day, Arthur informed that George had a fight with him at his office. I asked George about it. George said he didn't want me doing anything with movies. So my Hollywood dream turned cold. But 3 months later, Rupert again called Arthur and offered $5 million to me. Arthur arranged a meeting in Vancouver where the shooting was planned. I asked for the script before signing for the movie. Rupert said his movies don't require a script, and that was the beauty of his movies. I walked out of the restaurant where the meeting was held. Arthur came running behind me and tried to convince me, saying it was a small role, just 3 days of shooting involved. And that Rupert was offering $5 million for 3 days of shooting with just a few scenes for the movie. I told Arthur I am not signing that movie. Let's go and pack our bags and leave now.
Events to match everybody's statement. However, there is the thing that came up during my interrogation of your wife, Stephanie. I share it as it happened.
When you and Arthur went to Vancouver, George stayed at the same hotel. What was the need to not
You? Did he suspect you were hiding something or being not loyal to him?
No, Detective Vance.
If George actually came to Vancouver, then he would have likely come to check whether I was signing for the movie or not.
What movie?
Arthur always believed that I was made for Hollywood. So he introduced me to many celebrities, many big stars and producers. One such producer and director is Rupert Loris, who wanted to cast me in his next movie.
What? Do you even know what movies he made?
Everyone I did last summer, A Few Hard Men, etc. are the names of his movies. Didn't you know?
On my last birthday, Rupert gifted me this photo frame stating Hollywood needs me. I didn't know the kind of movies he made, so jokingly said, sign me then. The next day, Arthur informed that George had a fight with him at his office. I asked George about it. George said he didn't want me doing anything with movies. So my Hollywood dream turned cold. But 3 months later, Rupert again called Arthur and offered $5 million to me. Arthur arranged a meeting in Vancouver where the shooting was planned. I asked for the script before signing for the movie. Rupert said his movies don't require a script, and that was the beauty of his movies. I walked out of the restaurant where the meeting was held. Arthur came running behind me and tried to convince me, saying it was a small role, just 3 days of shooting involved. And that Rupert was offering $5 million for 3 days of shooting with just a few scenes for the movie. I told Arthur I am not signing that movie. Let's go and pack our bags and leave now.
Nobody knew you were in Vancouver and eavesdropping and listening to every word spoken between Rupert, Arthur, and Stephanie. You felt happy seeing Stephanie walk out of the restaurant, but were shocked when Arthur tried to convince Stephanie to reconsider walking out of the movie deal and reminding her of $5 million at stake. You saw Arthur's real face.
You couldn't believe your own brother was brokering a deal to sell dignity and self-respect, and that to a family's, isn't it?
You followed them to the hotel and saw Arthur persistently trying to convince Stephanie to take up the role.
You realized that Stephanie might have rejected the role for the time being.
But Arthur would persistently cause her to pursue her Hollywood dream.
Back at home, you kept an eye on Arthur and checked if he was instigating Stephanie.
You realized Arthur needed to be removed so that you have control over your wife.
You were waiting for the perfect occasion to remove Arthur. Yesterday night, when Clara and Julian, we were fighting, you shut the door of Clara's room, went to your room, took out the cyanide injection, went into Arthur's study room. Arthur was fighting over phone with Victor. Arthur saw you and turned his back to you, and you, being left-handed, jabbed the injection. On the left-hand side of Arthur's neck. Arthur struggled against you, and in the struggle, Arthur ripped apart your leather strap wristwatch as he fell, and the watch fell on the floor, and immediately the glass cracked, and the watch stopped working at 8:45. Here is your watch with the strap torn, which you didn't realize slipped onto the floor yesterday. We slipped out of the room, slightly shutting Arthur's study room door, and went to the kitchen. You told Elima to go and check on Julian and Clara, knowing that Elima would find Arthur dead. Your real horror began when Elena was locking the door and you saw your watch on the floor near Arthur in the study room. You went outside, broke open the window of the study room, and entered the room, picked up the watch from the floor, but couldn't find a part of the leather strap. As Arthur's dead body was lying on top of it, you heard noises outside the door, so you sneaked out of the room and shut the window from the outside and sneaked back into the house. You have great imagination, Detective Vance, but you have nothing to prove your theory. Your sweat, your dead skin cells on the leather wristwatch strap that I found will provide the evidence. It would be better if you confess now, George. Might as well clear your conscience.
Arthur deserved to die. He only thought about himself and nobody else. Destroyed lives
of others around him. Destroyed Clara's life, almost broke my marriage. Yes, I did it.
Julia, you carry on from here.